F1 fans, I know we're all sad for a multitude of reasons, mainly because the season's over, but what's not over is track limit episodes. Let's dive into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Welcome to another episode of Track Limits with me, John, the Motorsport Enthusiast, and today I'm going to walk you through the entire Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, all of my notes, everything you need to know, and then we're going to talk about all the fun off-season episodes that I have planned for Track Limits. So let's start off with Turn 1. Max Verstappen dives deep into Turn 1, hits the curb, kind of slides up a little bit, gets into Oscar Piastri. They both go spinning. Through goes Carlos Sainz. And McLaren fans are absolutely in hysterics. They're all freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, are we going to lose the constructors because of Max Verstappen? And you see Sergio Perez spin off of Valtteri Bottas. So both Red Bulls go spinning on the first lap. While all this is happening, Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc moves up from 19th all the way to 8th in one lap. Obviously, he had some help with the two incidents, but either way, he made up over 10 positions. Absolutely insane by Leclerc. Sergio then gets stuck, which means there's a virtual safety car. As the laps unfold, Oscar Piastri runs into the back of Colapinto. Colapinto has a puncture. The FIA is like, you know what? Let's hand out all the penalties that we can. Max Verstappen got a 10-second penalty for running into Oscar, and Oscar got a 10-second penalty for running into Colapinto. At this point, we make our way up to lap 12, and Ferrari is in the battle for the constructors, but Leclerc is kind of facing an issue because he actually has had 3 track limit violations already, or 3 track limit warnings on lap 12. So that means he has to be perfect the rest of the race or he'll get a penalty. Then lap 13 hits, you start to see the first round of pit stops. K-Mag and Albon pit. On lap 14, Hülkenberg and Fernando Alonso pit. And on lap 15, Pierre Gasly pits. The false start police came out for Zhou Guanyu. He got a 5-second penalty for a false start. And by lap 17, Charles Leclerc is all the way up to P4. Absolutely insane drive for him so far. Then Stroll got caught with his 3rd track limit warning on lap 18. So these drivers struggling with track limits specifically in turn 1. Moving on to lap 21, Leclerc pits for hard tires. On lap 23, Duhan and Tsunoda pit. On lap 24, Liam Lawson pits. Then the following lap, Liam Lawson says the wheels aren't on. Then after that, Lawson pits to get everything fixed. On lap 26, Carlos Sainz pit. On lap 27, Lando Norris pits. On lap 28, Colapinto, in what possibly could be his last Formula One race, we don't know what his future looks like, retires the Williams. Then on lap 30, Verstappen and K-Mag pit. And at this point in the race, you see Max Verstappen complaining about the pit crew taking too long during the pit stop. And he had to serve a penalty, keep in mind, but he was saying that they took too long to get the service back to the car. So Max is just, doing what he normally does. Following Max Verstappen and his issues on pit road, you saw Valtteri Bottas pit for a flat tire. Bottas basically locked it up and slid right into Magnus. Bottas out. Then on lap 33, Oscar Piastri pits. On lap 35, Lewis Hamilton pits. And on lap 38, Fernando Alonso pits. Then between lap 38 and 43, they interview Zach Brown, and Zach Brown says, quote, he's feeling pretty good about their chances of winning the constructors with Lando up front. And by lap 43, Norris leads Sainz by 4.3 seconds. Now, Ferrari is still battling McLaren for the Constructors' Championship, even though Oscar is way back in the field at this point. Basically, if a McLaren wins the race, McLaren automatically wins the Constructors' Championship. On lap 46, Leclerc comes across the radio complaining with graining on the tires. Verstappen has moved his way up to 6th at this point, and Piastri almost lost it. I mean, he almost just absolutely wrecked his race. It could have been bad. Saved the car, kept on going. My next note is that dirty air was hurting Norris, so towards the end of the Grand Prix, you saw Lando catching the back markers, the back end of the field, and lapping them. You saw his lap time start to hurt because of that, and that was because of the dirty air. Then apparently Carlos Sainz says that he ran over something and there was a puncture and that it flew into the cockpit. Didn't really hear much else about that, but apparently something happened. But either way, he finished the race. While 1st, 2nd, and 3rd have been decided with Lando Norris getting the win, Carlos Sainz coming in 2nd place in his last race with Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc coming in 3rd, you saw Sir Lewis Hamilton get around his teammate, or I guess ex-teammate now, George Russell on the last lap to secure a 4th place spot in his last race with Mercedes. At the end of the day, Lando Norris gets the win, and for the first time since 1998, McLaren wins the Constructors' Championship in Formula One. So, with no Formula One race coming up until, 2025, what are we going to talk about here on Track Limits? Well, we're going to talk about any off-season news and any driver movement going on. There are still a few seats available in F1. So we're still trying to figure out the future of that. We're going to figure out the future of Colapinto, where he's going to go. A lot of things can happen over the next couple months. We're going to talk about Carlos Sainz moving over to Williams and his testing, talk about Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari, and covering all the news about movements going into 2025. There also might be some F1 live streams on F1 24 coming into play with track limits. So we'll see how that works, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do there. There will also be some skits that I'm going to come up with, which will be pretty fun. You can't see it because they're blurred out, but I have some Formula One diecasts up here, so I'll be releasing some diecast hauls over the next couple months. And if there's anything that you want me to talk about or explain about Formula One, I'll be dropping explainers. The release schedule for track limits will still be on Mondays at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, but I will be releasing other videos throughout the week on shorts, as well as long form here on YouTube. I'll announce those in the coming weeks. But from John the Motorsport Enthusiast, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to ATYL Media so you don't miss any content of the offseason from myself, from any of the other creators we have here on ATYL Media. I have all the socials for ATYL in the description as well. And also, if you want to check out some of my independent content as a motorsports enthusiast, I've dropped those in the description. We've reached the last lap of the Formula One season. There are no more track limits to exceed, but we're still going to keep on racing. I'll see you next time.